Oh, we didn't. Right, we didn't record the last one. Okay. Where did we leave off? We started with the ladders, right?
Then you sent out notes.
Send out notes. I can't.
We didn't go all the way to the bottom or something like that, no?
We're up to the bottom line. Bottom line.
We're up to the bottom line. We're up to the bottom line. That's the bottom line. Very good. Okay, so just the chazer. Yesterday was a machlokes of the thickness of the walls, 4 tefachim. So what's the status? What's the status of that wall, right? And hold on a second. And then if it's a wall that's uneven from one side to the other, meaning you had 2 yards, one like on a hill, and then a hole in the ground if it's not even on both sides. And then all these different ways of minimizing the wall so you'd be able to make an eruv from one side to the other. Meaning, again, the basic halacha is that if there's a wall, 10 tefachim high, 4 tefachim wide, you have to break it up. You can't make one big eruv between the 2 yards because it's too thick. So then we were discussing ladders, and then we continue with ladders. Yeah, that's basically. So the bottom. Hold on. So on the bottom line, yeah. So Omar Rav Nachman Omar Rabba bar Avua. Yeah, ziz. Right, ziz. What? How do you touch a ziz? A hole, not a hole. The opposite. Something sticking out of the wall.
A ledge.
Shelf.
A ledge, a shelf, a ledge, something like that. Something sticking out from the wall, right? So ziz hayachid min Chiseling. Yeah.
Sorry, before you forgetting talking about basketball players, but 40 inches is not high. The Gemara is going all through. You bring over ladders and you bring over staircases. And
you're right.
All kinds of stuff. It's only 40 inches.
I know. You're 100%. I hear that, right? So 40 inches, what's 3.5 feet?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the chumrah dikashir, right? The makel is 30 inches.
So
you're right. You're right. It's a strange
people
thing.
Could step over it. It's
yeah. So what is the pshat in that?
I don't know.
Anybody have a pshat that it's so low?
Was this the time when they were wearing robes and they wanted to be sneers? That's all I got.
That's an interesting pshat. That's an interesting pshat.
Why in the future is 10 tefachim?
No, that's a mechitza, but for benegeya to this, we keep talking about minimizing it so to make it more accessible. So Rabban said, what do you mean more accessible? It's 30, 40 inches off the ground. Big deal. You just
put but once it has a din of a mechitza, you have to treat it as a whatever.
Good, but so what do we keep saying? Put a ladder, put a this, so that it makes it more accessible. It's more accessible from the get-go.
No, but it's a halakhic mechitza. It needs a halakhic way to get over it.
Okay, so then put epis a hecker on the floor and finish.
Why do I need a halachic way to get over? Why do I need a halachic way to get over if it's easy to get over?
Right.
100%. Once you explain to me why 10 tefachim is a mechitza b'chlal, I can see over it, I can climb over it, I can do everything. Why is it a mechitza? The Torah says it's a mechitza. It gets a din of a wall that goes all the way up to the roof. There's no difference.
Yeah, but fine. I hear what you're saying. You're saying it's a din of a mechitza, it's a din of a mechitza. Has a din of a mechitza, it's a din of a mechitza, finished, right? But that's not really...
The halacha dictates that it's not the normal way. So above 30 inches is not the normal way.
I guess. That's what you have to say. The truth is, you ever go...
That it's above 30.
Maybe people were shorter then.
That's one. That could be one shot. The truth is, you ever drive in the country and you see these brick walls, right? What?
Pretty short.
Yeah, it could be. But I'm saying, ever see in the country they have these brick walls? Anybody know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You know, they make the people right. So those walls are like, they're usually pretty low. They're a foot or 2 feet off the ground max.
Just like boundary markers.
That's
right.
That's the boundaries. It's not going to keep somebody out. There's boundaries.
We're on the top line of Ayin Ches. Yeah, I hear both. I hear the question. I hear your answer, Gershon.
Well, mechitza is also a boundary. It's not meant to keep people out. It's just a boundary.
I'm not sure. Maybe it is. Maybe it is meant to keep.
By the
it
way,
Then
close.
we need barbed wire. It's, you
Just
know what I
because
mean?
you can step over it, by the way, doesn't mean you should step over it. There's like,
Yeah.
Right. So it's a marker. Don't go over here.
no, but I'm
It's a
saying that
separation.
that's why they're saying, you know, the 40 inches or whatever it is. Just because you can step over it, I'm 6'5", I can step over a lot of things, but there's certain things, you know, like if you're in your suit and stuff like that, or Shabbos or whatever. We're talking about Shabbos. It would make it easier if I had something I could.
Right. And we're also talking about carrying over there. So now you're carrying something. So because it's a certain height, it's not like stepping over a 6-inch thing. It's a tircha, so it's enough to make it annoying.
Yeah.
I guess. So then okay, but then it's not. But the Gemara is going through all these scenarios for the last blot and then tonight also, right? That all these scenarios to lower that wall. It shouldn't be that big a deal to lower that wall. I mean, taking a ladder.
It's going to be a problem.
The wall per se, they're using that term as lowering the wall to make it easier to step over. But if you have a ladder, you put the what they say, the basin or whatever, you turn it upside down. You're not lowering the wall. You're building up a step effect.
Right, but I'm saying, okay, so tonight though, we'll see with ladders, there's all sorts of interesting things. I saw this morning, I read this morning a Maisa with Rabbi Levine, right? The Tzaddik of Yerushalayim, Rabbi Yashav's father-in-law. So Rabbi Yashav said over once that Rabbi Levine, how driven he was to do chesed. There was somebody in jail in Yerushalayim. So he wanted to go bring him food. So the guards didn't let him in. So he called over 2 guys. And he said, here, stand next to the fence. He jumped on their shoulders, jumped over the fence, and gave the food, right? And then they caught him, obviously. The guy told him, you can't come in and bring food. And right in front of him, he jumped over the fence. And the guy, he was so impressed, the warden, and he let him, he says, it must mean a lot to you, so you could come through. So I never stomach, that was more than 40 inches. But I hear it now that you bring it up, that I read it this morning. Okay, anyways. So here's another way to do it. So the top line. So Ziz, Hayotzim and Akaisel, Dalet al Dalet. So if you have this, what do you call it again?
He called it
A ledge or so something sticking out of the wall that's 4 by 4, right? The hiniach alav sulam kolshu, and then you leaned on this ledge. Yuri, we could have used some pictures. There's a whole lot of pictures that have to go on today, right? Hiniach alav sulam kolshu, and you put a ladder.
Shmuel's sending 15 a day.
Yeah, wow.
15 pictures I get every night.
These are picture gemaras. They're not hard, Baruch Hashem, but the pictures do help. Although, maybe we were just talking about bitachon in the previous limud, right? Maybe taking pictures also takes away from you. Pictures is like, I'll just look at a picture and I'll figure out the pshat in the Gemara. But all right.
You're definitely not struggling as much with the picture.
True, but that's exactly what we've been discussing, right?
Yeah, I'm saying I'm agreeing.
Street. Yeah, easy street. There you go.
Would you say the same for Perik HaShaykut and Kulin also, or?
L'chayra.
Wow.
I'm saying, I'm a big talker. I'm the first guy to go to pictures. Don't get me wrong.
I'm saying, but years ago they didn't have pictures and they managed.
They didn't, right? They didn't
figured it out.
Years ago, they went to a farm and shechted animals and opened it up and looked what was in there.
Right, so we could do that too.
It's
all right.
Okay.
You know what? The OU app has, when Bez Hashem we get there, the OU app has Rabbi Belsky Zechon Rocha chopping up animals, so we could have that too. I don't know if
doesn't the Mishna say?
It used to be. They used to have it on there. What?
Doesn't the Mishna in Rosh Hashanah, is it Rosh Hashanah that says, is it Rabbi Gamliel or Rebbe used to bring people up to Yaliyah with the pictures of the moon?
Yes.
So even back then, they had cheat sheets.
That's true. And you can even ask also Rashi, even on this summit, right? Tosfos has a chart. So
although Rashi makes it sometimes more difficult with his pictures. He was not a very talented artist.
Well, I don't think it was Rashi's art or it was the printer's art or whatever. You know why? Because Rashi's daughters are busy learning.
His daughters made the pictures. They made it in projects in school. His daughters.
Right, but Rashi's daughters are busy learning so much. He needed somebody else's daughters. That's the stomach. Very good. Okay, so anyways,
there's a machlokes in Rush. There's a machlokes in the Rush in the first parak of Eruvin, I think, on one of the pictures in Rashi. What shop is?
Yeah,
I don't think it's the printer. There's somewhere. I don't know if it's here. Yeah.
I hear. Anyways, okay, so v'niachol of sulam kolshu, and what he did is you have a ladder, a kolshu, meaning a minimum amount of a ladder leaning on this ledge. So then miyatu, that makes it smaller, right? And then memela, it doesn't have a din of a wall, right? And therefore you're okay. Yeah, meaning then you can make eruvs there, carry stuff, whatever it is. But that's only if you put the ladder on top of the ledge. But if you put it next to it, then it's only going to widen the ledge, but it's not going to make it that you could access the top of the wall. Right? Meaning if you put the ladder, here's the thing sticking out of the wall, and then you put the ladder on the side, not leaning on it, so then that's not going to work. Fine. Now we're finally getting into some big walls. Right? So now a wall that's 19 tefachim, tzarich ziz echod la'tiroi, then it only needs one ziz, right? Because if you put that ziz, that ledge, it's 19 tefachim. So you want to be able to have nothing more than 10 tefachim, right? So if you have 19 tefachim high, so you put the ledge somewhere at by 10, and then you'll be okay, right? Kaisel esrim, but if it's a wall that's 20, tzarich shnei zizim la'tir, then you're going to need 2 ledges in order to be able to climb that ledge in order to get up to the top of the wall. That's only if you put them not one ledge directly under the other ledge. You have to put them at a what do you call it? You have to put them one over here, let's say, and then one up here, and then you could access them with the ladder, and then that's what Rashi says. And you have the ladder that you can access from one ledge to the other ledge, right?
In these taller cases, do I need something on the other side of the wall also?
So it's interesting because the Gemara doesn't discuss that. So It seems like not. Later on, the Gemara does. I would think that you do, no?
I mean, it has to make it accessible, right?
It's accessible to both.
You're talking about a 5.5 foot wall, you know?
Right. And a chanami, so I hear. That's what I think.
But if you're saying it has to be to both sides, so that it's a mirror image, whatever they're saying about this, the fellow on the other side has to do the same thing. That's all.
That's I think that would make the most sense, right? That it has to be on both sides. Rashi says the beferish later, but he doesn't say it here. I think it's Rashi that says it later, but he doesn't say it here. I don't know. I think that's what it has to be, 100%.
How tall is this ziz? Meaning we're saying it's mamash like a kolshu.
So that's
meaning, I know it's 4x4, but meaning why does the Gemara have to say if it's 20, right? Then you need 2. Maybe it's 4 feet tall, or 4 tefachim tall. Yeah. The Gemara seems to be saying if it's 20 tefachim, then you need 2. It's mom. How much is it?
You're saying how thick is it? How tall is it?
How tall is it?
Wouldn't that be an itztaba if it's thicker? It's a thin shelf. It's a ledge or whatever.
Then you're saying it's an itztaba.
By definition, is thin.
Right. Fair enough.
Itztaba we only use in the context of it against the wall on the ground. We never discussed it in terms of on top of the wall with a ladder connected to it. Or
that is the definition of an itztaba versus a ziz.
I hear. I don't know. I wish I had a pshat on all these different things, like why there's such nafkaminas. Okay, let's see. So Amud Huna, Amud reshus. So now we have a little bit of break from this, and we go to something else.
It might be called an exaggerate. It might be called a thing if it's wider.
Not exaggerate. You mean it's the
what the heck? Not exaggerate.
it's the one. That's what he's saying. Yeah, and a chanami. So ultimately, all these things are accomplishing the same thing. It's just technical points of how exactly it's lowering or making that wall more accessible. Okay, so let's see. If you have a pillar, right? So we know that that's a reshus hayachid. And then you stick in a nail of a little nail. Miyutoy, that takes now that miyut makes it smaller, meaning it takes the 4x4, and since there's a nail on it, so now not all of the top of the 4x4 is usable anymore. So therefore, it loses its reshus hayachid. L'chayr becomes a karmelis. Right? Again, if it's 4x4 and there's nothing on top of it, so then it's fully accessible. So it's like reshus hayachid, right? But if you have a nail in the top, so now you can't use it as much. So it's not a usable area. So therefore, it downgrades it from reshus hayachid. No, it has to be this nail has to be 3 tefachim high, right? Because if it's less than that, we know it's less than that. It's lavud, and therefore it's as if it's flat. Even if it's not 3, my timer because you can't use it, right? When you have a nail sticking out of the top of this thing, you can't put something down on it, right? Because because the nail makes it's gonna wobble and fall off, right? So over you have 2 shitas. One is that it has to be 3 tefachim high. The other one is that it can be any amount. Even if it's 3 tefachim high, my time, when you can use as a hook, right? You put your hat, right? Anytime you have anything with a nail sticking out, what does the yeshiva guy do? Use it for his hat, right? So in Mamela, you take this, you have this nail sitting on the thing. It's even if it's higher than 3 tefachim, it's usable, right? So those are the 3 shitas. So Amrle Rav Achabre, the Rav Ashi, Malo Kula be say this. What happens if you stick nails in the entire top of the thing? Then what would be the din? Meaning then it's really not usable. Is it still considered reshus hayachid? Yeah. So Amrle Lo Shmi'alach. Did you not hear Had Amar Rav Yochanan Bar v'Chol Yasa Mitzdaraf LaSara? So a bar. This is way back in Shabbos, right? If you have a bar, you have a hole in the ground. Now we said in order for a hole in the ground to be considered reshus hayachid, it has to be 10 tefachim deep. But let's say that hole in the ground is only 5 tefachim deep. But you took the dirt from the hole, piled it around the hole, right? It's piled around the hole. Now, between you combining the wall of dirt plus the hole, that makes 10 tefachim, right? So but how can you can't use it, right? We're saying, so if you now go put something down on top of this thing, it's considered like 10 tefachim, because 5 tefachim of, for example, 5 tefachim of the hole, 5 tefachim of the wall, right? You can't, it's not usable, right? Because you can't put something down on this thing that's going to fall into the hole. I'd say I take my jacket, right? I have a hole in the floor. Then I have a wall made out of dirt. And I want to lay a board down on top of it, or put a jacket down and lay it over this whole thing, right? It's going to fall right down into the hole. It's not usable, right? So this grata was bothering me since Shabbos. Since Masechta Shabbos, like I don't understand how you can consider this a reshus hayachid. But now Baruch Hashem, the answer is in Eruvin, right? You can't use it.
Are we talking about the hole or the wall around it? What's mitzvah lasara?
It needs to be dalet al dalet, though. It needs to have at least 4 tefachim of width. But that means you're taking into account the whole of the opening of the thing. Meaning
I'm
we're
confused.
saying
in which direction? Up or down?
You're combining the wall of the dirt that was dug out from the hole together with the hole. Right?
I froze. Lovely.
Well, we heard you, so we did hear you, Gershon. But I guess you can't hear us.
From Sri Yaakov in the Bronx, over Shabbos, a man was waiting for a bus, and he bummed a cigarette from a guy next to him, and the guy turned around. He didn't see him anymore. The sidewalk broke, and he fell into a hole like 4x4, fell down 10 feet. Took the fireman an hour to get him out. Yeah, mamish. The sidewalk mamish a hole like this.
I guess he must be learning the daf, that guy. But anyway, so no, but Gershon, are you unfrozen, or you back, or you're not back?
I'm back.
When you dig this hole, right? So you're digging this hole in the floor. Plus, there's a wall. There's a wall of 5 tefachim plus a hole of 5 tefachim. But it still needs to be 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim, right? So here the Gemara is assuming that part of that 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim is the hole. The hole has to be 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim, right? But it's not usable.
The hole is not usable, or the wall is not usable?
The wall, the top of the wall is not usable.
Bar b'chol yosim mitzvah asara means the wall of the bar or the bar itself.
The bar together with the wall. Meaning, if you put something now down on top of this wall of this hole in the ground, right? Then that's considered reshus hayachid. If you took it from reshus Hara and put it down on there, you're chayiv, right? But the wall needs to be 4 tefachim long.
I didn't understand that at all. I thought it means in mitzvah to make the bar a bar.
It does, but benegeya to reshus hayachid for Shabbos.
Yeah. So really, this bar is only 5 tefachim deep.
Right.
And
So the wall makes it 5.
The wall makes it 10 tefachim deep.
Correct, but what's with the 4 tefachim? It also needs to be 4 tefachim. Why?
Who said it's not?
Who said? But good. But how? But it's not usable.
Oh, the wall needs to be 4 tefachim wide.
Yeah.
Why?
Because how it needs to, in order for it to be reshus hayachid, it has to be 10 tefachim.
I don't need the wall to be reshus hayachid. The wall can be reshus harabin. What do I?
No,
care?
but we're talking about the top of the wall is a reshus hayachid because we're combining the hole.
Why does it need to be reshus hayachid? Let's say I don't get 10 tefach deep hole.
Then that's a reshus hayachid. Fine, no problem. That's not the case we're talking about.
So here I have a 10 tefach deep hole. Who cares about the wall?
No, it's talking about the wall is considered 10 tefachim high.
Why?
Right?
It's considered the bar is 10 tefachim deep.
That's
Why
true
do I
too.
need to say that it?
That's true
Why
too.
does it need to be both?
That's fine, right?
But why does it need to mean both ways? Why can't it just mean the bar?
It could be, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about what's the story with putting something down on top of this wall. The wall is considered reshus hayachid.
Okay.
Right, so again, what the Gemara is asking, right? At least the way I understand it. If you think I'm wrong, so let me know after. But the Vila, we're going with this pshat, right? Meaning, if you want to use the top of this wall, so we're saying that you could use the hole in the ground as 5 tefachim to use an example, and then the wall is 5 tefachim, right? Very nice. But the wall also has to have a width of 4 tefachim. Where's that width coming from? The hole, right? Good. So now I want to put down. I want to put something down on top of this wall. This wall is only 4 tefachim with the hole. So if I put it in, it's going to fall right through. It's not usable. The top of this 4. There's no 4 tefachim of usable space on this wall without using the hole. Same thing with the pillar. When you have these nails sticking in it, it's not usable, right? So that's what Gemara says. Right? But what you can do is you can take a board and lay it across the whole wall of the bar and then put something down on top of it. So here too, when you have all these nails sticking out of the pillar, so what you can do is take a what do you call it? What those a 4x8 or whatever? What do you call those? Plywood. Take a plywood, put it down on top, and then you can put down whatever you want. Okay, fine. Now we're back to our walls. Yeah. Amr Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Kaisel Asara. So a wall that's 10. Tzarich Sulam Arba Osar Lahatirei. Now we have a very interesting machlokes Rashi Tosfos here. You have a wall that's 10 tefachim high. So we're saying that you need a ladder that's 14 tefachim long in order to be matir that wall. Right? Now why is he saying 14 tefachim? Because you got to put it at an angle. Look at the Tosfos. Look, you see the Tosfos chart? Yeah, so you got to put it at an angle. Well, this is just look at the chart in Tosfos. But that's not really don't look at the numbers because that's for the next case, right? But what Tosfos is saying what the Gemara is saying is that in order to be able to get the ladder to be able to access the wall, you need to put the ladder on an angle, and you have a 10 tefachim high wall. The angle that's going to get the top of the ladder to be by the top of the wall, you'll have to pull it out enough of that angle that you're going to get there. Which Tosfos asks, what do you mean? It shouldn't need that much. It should need what do you mean? What do we say that if you have a measurement this way, 10 tefachim this way is what was the thing again? Is 2/5. Right? It's 2/5 more to put it on an angle. Yeah? Right? Kol amsa biribua amsa v'trei chumshi belachsoina. Okay, so that's what Tosfos says. So that's what his kasha is on Rashi. But whatever it is, you need to put a ladder on an angle in order to access the top of the wall. So 14 tefachim is the cheshbon. All you need is to have a ladder that's 13 tefachim and change, because it doesn't have to go to the top of the wall. That's the picture in Tosfos. It just has to go within a tefach of the wall. Why within a tefach? Because Rashi says a tefach is meaningless. A tefach is a meaningless amount, which Rabban, of course, we're going to ask with our cynical, like all of a sudden here we're saying a tefach is nothing. We're busy. We're making cheshbon. It's exactly a tefach. A lulav has to be this. That's, everything's got to be exact. All of a sudden we say a tefach, shine. That tefach is good enough, right? Okay, but that's what it is. 13 and a half.
It might depend on how they built ladders.
How they build what?
How they used to build ladders. Where was the top rung placed on the ladder?
Here. What do you think? It's lower than that?
Well, the closer the top rung is to the top of the ladder, the farther it can be from the top of the wall, because it's just the same step. What's the difference?
Right.
That's what it means.
Yeah.
It makes no difference.
Okay,
the step
maybe.
is at the top of the ladder, so a tefach is nothing, Taka, because it's one more step.
Well, if the top rung is against the wall, it's unusable anyway.
Well,
No, it's not. You're holding onto the top of the wall from 4 rungs down.
I understand, but you can't stand on something that's mamish up against the wall.
right, so that's going to be the next case. Actually, that's going to be next. That's going to be the next case.
Why one tefach as opposed to anything under 3? That lavud isn't that.
Oh,
3?
so that's going to be the next shita. That's very good. That's going to be the next shita. I mean, why is he not going with lavud? Why is he not going with lavud? That's really the next shita. I don't know why he picks not lavud. What are you saying, Akiva? Oh, you just posted all the pictures, Judy, right? Oh, yeah, it's very good. Okay, yeah.
It's interesting. Well, I don't know why the Gemara picks a certain type of ladder. You could also have a rope ladder, which just hangs straight down, and then you wouldn't necessarily even be talking about something that has to lean against the wall at a certain degree angle.
I don't think people use rope ladders as often as they do regular.
I'm just
ladders.
saying there are different
you're
ways.
right.
There are different ways.
No, but that's
The Gemara
that's
seems
good
to
enough.
only pick a certain ladder. There are different
so we're going to
types
see
of
in the
things that
next
can
case.
access the wall.
Right,
You
so
could
the
build
next
pegs
case,
into the wall also.
right. So the next case, really, a rope ladder will fit in. According to this shita, ladders going straight up the wall don't work. You need to have
Right,
ladders on a.
I'm saying even if it's the next case seems to be where you're using a regular ladder and you're putting it up straight up against the wall. I'm saying something
Correct.
that actually would work against the wall. That seems
Right.
to be saying a chiddush, even if you're not really making real use of it, it would still make the wall less than 10 tvachim.
Right, I hear. So let's see how it goes. So that's the second shita. Abayam rafilu achad aser mashu, even 11 in mashu. Yeah. Rav Huna b'rei Rav Yeshua amar rafilu shiva mashu, even 7 in mashu, right? Because he's using, that's one. That sheet is using lavud. Okay, so you have a few different sheetas of exactly what angle the ladder has to be. So Amar Rav Sulam
Wouldn't that be
Zokuf.
using the 4 tefach lavud?
Why? 7 and change to the.
You still need some kind of slope.
Right.
There should be 8 and change. 8 and change.
You mean just because you need some angle? Because you need some
Yeah.
angle to it.
Why do you need any angle?
No.
Well, according to
No,
Rav,
you're
you don't
right.
need an angle.
You're right. You're right, Gershon. Rashi says he's going with that shita. Right. Very good. Yeah. Actually, there's something. Yeah. Very good. What do you say, Akiva?
According to the shita, you don't need an angle. It's not a complex.
Right. That's right. That's what Rashi says. Very good. So Omar Rav. So now again. So the first 2 shitas hold that you need an angle on the ladder. This next shita, Rav Omar Rav Sulam Zakuf Memayit. That a sulam zakuf means a straight up ladder does make the wall lower. Gemara v'lo yadana my time. It's a Gemara, meaning it doesn't mean Gemara. It means some say it means halacha l'moshe misinai, that works. But lo yadana my time, but I don't know the reason. So Mashmu v'lo yada Abba timer, right? Abba doesn't know the reason. It doesn't mean it was his father. That was just a term of endearment, right? Timer. You don't know the reason for this. It's the same thing like we learned yesterday. One box on top of another box, right? So they combine. They go straight up and they combine. So why shouldn't the ladder that goes straight up also combine? Fine. So Amar Rab Chia the kolim shebebavel einon tzrichin keva. The dekel trees, which just basically means a tree stumps, right? Tree stumps that are from Bavel, einon tzrichin keva. They don't need to be like rooted into the ground, right? My timer. What's the reason? Kveidan kavasan. So we saw this yesterday. Since they're so heavy, nobody's going to take it away. So basically, you take this tree trunk and put it at the bottom of the fence. Then you can just jump on top of the tree trunk, then get over the fence, and we're not worried that somebody's going to take it. And the ladders that are from Bavel don't need to be put in there. My time of Kved and Kavaz, because those are the very heavy ladders. Mandar Saloma is called Shekain de Kolam. So the mandar that says that a ladder works, so for sure the wood also works. The what do you call it? The tree trunk also works. Well, mandar de Kolam, the one that says a tree trunk, but a ladder is not going to work. Why? Because the ladder is more portable than a tree trunk. What are you saying?
So then everything is totally dependent on time and place. Those Yidden were 5'4" in the time of the Gemara. In America, we're now 5'9", and in Scandinavia, people are 5'11". That's the average height. So it all depends on everything. It depends on the material you make ladders with, the material you make steps with. It depends on everything.
100%.
So Shmuel Sugar would have certain steps that you could step on. He would say, no steps you can't use. I mean, it's wild.
Yeah, 100%. Right. It's going to be tully in, well, it doesn't seem to be saying it's so much tully in people, but it's so much more tully in how do they make their ladders? How do they make their, yeah, 100%.
Is it permanent or not? Is it something strong?
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's all accessibility.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so because it has to be height also. I don't want to go back to our Gemaras with the Levim with 10, all the Levim with 10 Amos. Not going into.
But so, Abba, you're saying it depends on what the size is. It
depends on everything. You see from this teretz, there's no steadfast rule.
So if a guy's 4 feet tall,
because they have a certain kind of ladder in Bavel. Okay, good. So in Spain they have a different kind of ladder, and the Indians in Mexico have a third kind of ladder.
So if your guy's 4 feet tall and it's not as accessible, so then it's not good.
Right? Yeah. Why should it just be in what kind of ladder you use in Bavel? What does it have to do with anything?
Gershi doesn't agree over here.
I don't agree either. What does that even mean? The Gemara over here is talking about a specific thing. I'm over here is talking about kavas and not kavas. The Gemara
right, but it's tully. But let's say you make a very
it's tully in height
ladder.
Also. 1 second. He's the height also of the ladder. And Gemara gives very specific heights to the ladder. The Gemara says it needs to be a certain tefachim. What is it? Out kavas. You don't need kavas because the ladder has a certain heaviness to it. That could be very relative to the time and place. But what does that have to do with how high the ladder has to be?
Right.
That's how high the people are, because the mechitza.
The Gemara never said it's telling you
no,
people.
I don't care. The Gemara don't say it. It don't mean nothing.
Well, so we can just make stuff up without the Gemara.
10 tefachim means nothing to Moshe Rabbeinu. He was 25 feet tall. So what does a 2-foot fence mean to Moshe Rabbeinu?
The Gemara is only using
the Gemara did not say it's relative. The Gemara did not say it's relative to the person. You're making that up. Maybe we should just rip out the last 4 dafim.
So, I didn't say I wasn't making it up.
Should have told us that before we did
the Gemara says very specific heights.
Yeah, no, it's true, but it's meaning what he's saying is that it's not really subjective to the people, but to the society. What you put there would right.
If something is heavy enough, then it's subjective. If it's heavy enough to stay there, right? But it has nothing to do with the height of it.
Right. But I ask you something, Stolz. Let me answer to it. If it's a 50-pound ladder. And I don't have a problem lifting it, but a little kid does. Does it make a difference?
I hear that. It's a good question.
And economy, but that has nothing to do with the height.
So I'll ask you on the ladder.
That's exactly what this Machlokes is about.
Let's talk the ladder. I'm talking the ladder. 50-pound ladder, I don't have a problem with carrying it. But if a little
I wasn't arguing on that point.
Yeah, but
I was arguing that it's not subjective to the height of a person, though.
Why is it subjective to the weight of the ladder?
I'm not talking about the weight of the ladder. I'm talking about the height of the person. The Gemara
No, but
he
okay.
never brought that in.
Yeah. No, but that's true. But it's l'chayra. You have to cheshbonize with the people how strong they are in lifting the ladder, right?
No, it could be that's
Why
what the
not?
machlokes is between the two days. Madama dekalim aval sulam loy.
Right.
But there is a certain level where it's considered kavua. If you call the ladder 50 pounds and the decal 60 pounds, that's the machlokes. One holds the 50 pounds as that level of kviyas. Doesn't matter if the people around it are all world record weightlifters. That's called kavua.
I hear.
And the other one holds the 60 pounds is kavua.
Right. Okay. I hear. All right. Let's go weiter because if you think there's lumdus now, Amud Beis really has lumdus, right? Okay. So let's see. Bo miner of Yosem
I
Mirabba.
can still exercise my mute. Just let me know.
Bo miner of Yosem Mirabba. Yeah. We didn't wish Peretz a refuah shalema. He had the hernia surgery today, so we got to have a refuah shalema. He's on there, Mesiras Nefesh, Yeah. All right.
Who was
So
the
anyway.
doctor?
So if Yaakov and Peretz is, I didn't know he was here. So why did I have to put a board on top of the nails? Put a 20-pound roast from Peretz on the nails, and you could use the top. You don't need to come to a cheap little board. You have $150 piece of roast.
I know, but I don't know if
Fire
Peretz.
to the Amud.
Rabbi,
I
I
don't know.
gotta tell you real quick.
Okay, does this have something to do with a ladder?
And we're back to the nails. We're going backwards in the daf.
I didn't know Peretz was here. I would have said it when he was. I knew he was.
Rabbi, the Meister with the Rebbe today with me.
Oh, there we go.
The anesthesiologist, remember when Shlomo was sick, they asked him a herring and a frying pan. What did they have? They wanted to see if his mind was all there. So I think the Meister goes, he says the herring, the scissors and a frying pan. That's what they asked him. What do they have in common? So he says the scissors, you cut the herring, the frying pan, you fry it. So I went to the guy, says, right before he put me under, he says, what, how you doing? I said, I could use a steak. Then he woke me up. He says, how you doing? I said, I could use a hamburger. He goes, what happened to the steak? I said, well, you cut me all up. That's what happens. We got to have a burger now.
Very good. Very good. Yeah.
Shut up, everybody. Sorry. Thank you.
All right. Anyway, so good. Very good. So, Bo mine Reb Yosem Meirabba. Yeah, that's what we're up to? Yeah. Sulam mikan v'sulam mikan v'koshen be'emtza. Yeah, now I looked at the what do you call it? The Art Scrolls picture on this. I didn't get it so clear from the Art Scroll picture. But Sulam mikan, it's not such a hard case to understand. If you have a ladder from here and a ladder from here, but each meaning we said that the width of whatever these things that are you lowering the wall is less than 4 tefachim, right? Right. I mean, it has to be more than 4 tefachim. It's less than 4 tefachim that does not minimize the wall at all. But what happens if you have a sulam from a ladder here, right, which are each one less than 4 tefachim, the koshen be'emtza. So what does the guy do? He makes a yeshivish ladder, and he takes the 2 ladders and he connects them in the middle with straw. So now he's got the ladder that's wider than 4. So is that enough to be able to be considered 4 tefachim wide to access the top of the wall? Mahu, so Amalei, ain't kafaregel oilaben. He says, well, you can't put the bottom of your foot on top of that straw. What kind of scam is this? That's not going to be a legit ladder.
What's
right?
enough kamina? What's enough kamina?
Because if it's 4 tefachim wide, then you're able to access. Then you have, it's more nicha to access the top of the wall. So since the ladder is not actually 4 tefachim wide, so you have to widen it. So he takes straw and he puts it in between.
I mean, the shaila is if it's technically 4, but not able to use 4.
No, it's not 4. The ladders are not 4.
I understand it's technically 4 because there's straw, but it's not able to be used.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. So that's what he thought. Maybe okay. So as long as you have a, I don't know what do you call it? A virtual. That's not mamish virtual, but it's close enough. Maybe that's enough.
It's technically 4.
Right. So he said, no, you can't. It's not a practical.
It's not a useful 4. It's not.
It has to mamish be right. It has to be usable ladder. Yeah. Okay. So now we're a different case. Koshen mikan v'sulam be'emtza mahu. What happens if he puts straw on either end, right? And then in the ladder part is in the middle. So then that he could climb up the middle of the ladder. You just need to have it just needs to be 4 tefachim wide. So you add some straw onto either end of each rung, let's say, and then Memela, he has a ladder that's wider. So Amarle, Hare Kafa Regel Oilam, and he's on this ladder, the foot does go up. So Memela, it's going to be good. Right? So it's all totally, right now, the Gemara is saying that it's all totally in the practical. Can you get up there? Can you not get up there?
Can't you say the same in the first case where you use both sides for 2 different feet?
So it's interesting, right? You would think, why not put the right foot on the right ladder and the left foot on the left ladder, and
Same
I
scenario.
don't know. It's you're right. I agree with you. I don't know if that means we're right, but at some reason, I guess it's not the practical way to do it. I guess. Yeah.
Doesn't Rashi doesn't say a person usually climbs a ladder by placing their feet in the middle.
Correct, but I'm saying, but you could theoretically put it on the outside, no?
Not the norm. It's also not safe.
Yeah, so that's what it's saying. It must be that the normal way to do it, and we don't go with abnormal ways. Although seemingly, in the next Gemaras, it's going to go with abnormal ways. Let's see. Chakak lahashlim b'koisel b'kama. So this is really...
Rashi actually does give it there. Rashi says that you could use the other things for a different purpose. Meaning, in the first case, you couldn't use it for any. The cushion were not able to be used for anything. In the second case, you could use to hold on to. That's enough. I guess they were strong enough to use it to hold on to, so it serves a purpose.
You're saying it has a use, right?
Right.
Which Rashi?
The bottom, the last Rashi.
Bottom
But,
Rashi.
okay, I didn't understand it like that, but I hear what you're saying. You're saying Rashi's saying that there is a use to the straw, but if the straw's in the middle,
a ladder purpose, right?
then there's no purpose for it. That's what you're saying. That's what Rashi's saying. Okay, very good. Okay, so then let's see. So let's say you have a ladder that's less than 4, and then you take out some stones from the wall to make it wider than 4. Right? This sounds like a lot of headache in order to try and get to the top of a wall. Right? But Lamaisi, you chisel out from the wall each thing. So Amalei, Bekamas, and then how much do you have to chisel out? Amalei Basara, you'd have to chisel out 10 tefachim, a height of 10 tefachim. Amalei Chakaku Kuloi Bekaisel Bekama. What happens if you just build a ladder in the wall? The wall has a built-in ladder. So then how much does it have to be? Amalei Malai Kamasa. It has to be the height of the entire wall, not just 10 tefachim. Umayshna, how come one place it has to be 10 tefachim, the other place the height of the entire wall? Amalei, Hasa Mistalikle, Hachaloi Mistalikle. Right? When it goes to the top of the wall, it's easy. Meaning when you have a ladder together with some chiseled out, then it's easy to get up there. Hachaloi Mistalikle. But here, where the whole thing is in the wall, it's not easy. That's basically wall climbing, right? This is the way I understand it, right? When you climb a wall, right, it's not easy to get, as you get up higher, like gravity starts pulling you down, no? But if it's something that's not mamish into the wall, then you're gonna have an easier time with it. That's the way I understand it. I don't know if I'm right, but okay, fine. Here's the real lumdus here. Also, if you make a tree into a ladder, meaning you have a tree next to the fence, and you're able to climb up the tree in order to get over the fence. Right? So then what's the din? So Tibayla Rebbe, Tibayla Rabban.
No, it's also on Shabbos.
Oh, very good. So that's exactly the machlokes, right? So Rebbe holds Bein Hashmoshes, you're allowed to do remember we had this a few times. Rebbe holds Bein Hashmoshes, you're allowed to do a shvus. It's an Issa D'Rabbanan to climb a tree on Shabbos, right? And Bein Hashmoshes, so Rebbe holds you're allowed to do an Issa Bein Hashmoshes, right? This is parrots. This is what the Olam from whatever your son's yeshiva's name, they clearly go with this sheet of Rebbe. That Bein Hashmoshes is all good, right? But so Rebbe holds Bein Hashmoshes, you're allowed to do it. So according to Rebbe, you'd be able to climb a tree. According to Rabbanan, you're not allowed to do a Rabbanan Bein Hashmoshes. Yeah, so again, Tibayla Rebbe, Tibayla Rabbanan. Tibayla Rebbe, according to Rebbe, who holds you're allowed to do it. Adkan like Amar Rebbe Hassam, over there where you're allowed to do Malacha Bein Hashmoshes, called Avashum B'Shum Shvus like Gazerlov. That anything that's a shvus is another word for a D'Rabbanan. There was no gezerah, but Hanimili Bein Hashmoshes. That's only Bein Hashmoshes of a kula yom aloi, but the whole day wouldn't allow you to climb up the wall. I don't know. I feel the Rabbanan, maybe even the Rabbanan who hold normally Bein Hashmoshes, you're not allowed to. Pischahu, it really is a doorway. Va'aryahu the Revi'ala, and there's a lion sitting on top of the fence, which is a very interesting mashal. He's saying that really, according to the Torah, you're allowed to climb this tree. It's a Issa D'Rabbanan. So theoretically, in reality, I guess that's a stira. In reality, the fence you can get over the fence by climbing up the tree. However, there's a lion, which is the Rabbanon, sitting on top of the fence. You can't climb this tree. But Me'ikar Adin, the yards are accessible to each other, so therefore they should be able to make an eruv, right? That's what it's saying. Meaning that's the shaila according to Rabbanon. Then in the next shaila, asola asherah sulam mahu. What happens if the tree is an asherah? So they bow down to the tree. So the tree is now an avoda Zara tree, which you're not allowed to benefit from. Dailan remembers we had a machlokes Rabbi Yehuda and the Rabbanon, where by eruv tchum, are you allowed to put your eruv tchum on top of a grave? A grave is also bahana, right? Are you allowed to put it down on top of a grave? Rabbi Yehuda said, yeah, right? And the Rabbanon said no. So what about, and I'd say Asher is also bahana. So also Asher is sulam ma'u. Tibaylu Rabbi Yehuda, Tibaylu Rabbanon. It's a shayla according to Rabbi Yehuda, it's a shayla according to Rabbanon. Tibaylu Rabbi Yehuda. It's a shayla according to Yehuda. Arkan like Rabbi Yehuda Hasam Dimbutter Liknois Bias Bisuriano, that you're allowed to buy a house, meaning Israel, meaning the grave. Ella Hasam the Basa the Kanale Eruv Loy Nichalei the Linta. There, after your eruv acquires the reshus, meaning you're living by that eruv tchum, right? Then you don't care to watch it. You can care less what happens to the food. All you need, remember we said by eruv tchum, all you need is the food to be in existence by seis or bein hashmoshes, and that's enough. And after that, you don't care. Maybe even the Rabbanon who say you're not allowed to make an eruv on top of a grave. Hiskahu, no, but really me'ikar adin. It is this Asherah, Mikra Din, you could get up the tree, but there's a lion on top of it that doesn't allow you halachically to get it, but physically you're able to access the other yard. So basically it's the same shaila. So Amrlei, Ilan Mutter Vashera Asura. They said the tree is mutter, the Shabbos, the climbing is mutter, but if there would be an Asherah tree, then it's asur. So Maskal Rechista, Adarabah, it should be the opposite. Elon, Isura Shabbos, Karim Loi, right? Nitzar. So by the tree, what's causing the Isser? Shabbos is causing, right? So then it should be Asur, right? Because this whole thing is talking about Shabbos. So you're trying to access the other yard because it's Shabbos. Yeah, because of an eruv of Shabbos. And here we're saying that, well, Hilchah Shabbos doesn't allow you to access it. But Asherah, but Asherah has nothing to do with Shabbos. Really, mitzad Shabbos, you're able to climb up this tree. It's just mitzad avoda Zara you're not allowed to. So then, like nitzar, therefore we shouldn't ask it.
But if not for the avoda Zara, it still would be a tree, correct?
It wouldn't be a tree?
I said without the avoda Zara, it would still be a tree, right?
Correct.
So how does that work with the first part then? Elon Asher b'Shabbos, right?
Right.
Shizer Shabbos, right? So that's why you can't use it. It's also on Shabbos. This Asherah tree, they're saying that it's not because it's a tree, it's because it's an Asherah, right?
Right.
But if it's not an Asherah, it's still a tree. So you're going back to the first problem.
If it's not Asherah,
if it's not a tree, it's not an Asherah. It's still an eitz. It's still a tree. So
right.
You're going back to the first part of the Gemara here. I don't understand the question, because it's almost like the Asherah has two things against it. It's the fact that it's used for avoda Zara and it's a tree. And we just said if the reason why you can't do the tree is because it's also on Shabbos.
You mean it should be a double?
Correct. It's a double reason why you can't use it. It's not only is it a tree, but it's also used for avoda Zara.
Our school brings down a Ritva. The Ritva asked that question.
Yeah, what is the answer?
Oh yeah, that's very good.
He says Rabbi Yosef talking about a case on a Asherah tree that was taken out of the ground.
Oh, it was already detached from the ground.
So the Rabbanan are not geyser in such a tree when it comes to.
Why not?
That would have been useful information before I asked the question.
No, it's a good question. I have a different question.
The truth is, I don't know why I didn't think of that.
We shouldn't even talk about the teretz yet. Give you a few minutes. You see that over a ritva. What do you have? Who cares what the teretz is?
Very good. 100%. I can't believe I didn't ask that question myself.
Since the wood since the tree is disattached from the ground, so it's not moksa?
It's not part of the gazelle, right? We had that on Amud Aleph.
It's not part of the gazelle, yeah. That's what the Ritva says. I'm not.
Yeah.
I think it's from the Ritva.
Yeah, okay, whatever it is. It's a tree stump is not muksa, as we had on Amud Aleph, that you can move the tree stump. Yeah, very good. Very good.
Say also.
Asay doich. What's the asay?
The mitzvah to destroy an Asherah. So that mitzvah is what's usher on Shabbos, just in case you'll pull something off it.
You're saying that's why maybe you shouldn't make a gezerah on an Asherah tree.
Yeah. There's a mitzvah to destroy it anyway.
Maybe the gezerah should be that you're allowed to destroy it on Shabbos.
That's a lamda sheteretz right there. I hear. I'm not sure. I can hear. I hear the svara. I don't know. Okay, very good. What?
Nothing. I was going to say maybe one would think that you have to destroy it on Shabbos, right? Asa dochalosase, right? But maybe it's makabah patish if you do that because you're finishing off, right?
Okay.
You're finishing the action, right?
I hear. Very good. Okay, fine. Yeah. Itmar nami. Kiyasa Rav and Amar Rabbi Laza, V'ami lo Amar Rabbi Vo, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Kol she'isur Shabbos garam loy aser. If the isur Shabbos is causing it, then it's aser. Kol she'isur davar acha garam loy, then it's mutter. Now, this is not he's saying, if it's isur Shabbos, so we're dealing with Shabbos, so Mamela, that's going to be no problem. It's going to be a problem. But if it's a different isur, then it's no problem. I can't say I understand the pshat in this at all. Who cares what the isur Shabbos isur? Bottom line, it's aser. Right? Bottom line is you can't access it unless you're over on the Isser. So because it's an Isser Shabbos, and we happen to be dealing with Shabbos, so therefore you're not allowed to. But if it's in something other Isser, so it doesn't count because we're dealing with Shabbos. Okay, I don't know. I can't.
Shouldn't we go Lakula anyways? Shouldn't we go Lakula and allow these chatzeros anyways?
Well, because of eruv, we go Lakula.
It's a Darabanan.
Yeah, I thought I saw that kasha somewhere. I thought I saw that kasha, but I don't know. Okay, anyways, let's see.
It's not technically Hilchos Eruvin. We're discussing whether a door is a door.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but it's all been negayah to eruv chatzeros.
We cleared it according to different shitas. We cleared it according to each shita. So there's a tzad, obviously, for laheter.
Right. Okay, let's just finish a Mishna. Elon plucked at the Rebbe v'Rabbanon. A tree is a machlokes Rebbe and Rabbanon. Asherah is plucked at the Rebbe Yehuda v'Rabbanon, and Asherah is a machlokes Rebbe Yehuda and the Rabbanon. So basically, he's just saying that the machlokes is what it is. It's a machlokes. Each one's going to hold what they hold, right? Okay, I guess let's stop here. I wanted to get to the bottom, but we could stop here. It's already late.
Can I say a question?
Yeah.
So
don't we have a cake? I'm sorry, Aaron, go ahead.
I'm saying a joke.
Okay, go ahead, Mike. Mike, it's good to see you on. I haven't seen you on in a couple of days. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Joke.
No, don't make an excuse. I'm just saying.
The story of Moshe of Yashabeh, why they had such a difference in the mechitzas. We're talking about mechitzas, right? So it says it has to do with me talking about the height of people. So if Yashabeh says it's a separation of an ish. And so who's the Ish? Moshe. Moshe is 4 feet tall. And Moshe said, who's a Ish? For Yashabeh, he's 6 feet tall. So that was.
They really say that, or are you saying that?
No, that was a joke in my time.
Yeah. That would be, yeah. Right. Okay. No, that's the joke with the Nicham Avelim, right?
Right. Yeah.
You know that joke? The Olam knows that story with the Samar Rebbe. I don't know if it's a joke or it really happened.
That's good.
Rav Moshe came out with his tshuva, with his mechitzas, right? Every modern shul is samich on Rav Moshe's mechitza, which is the 5 feet. And Rav Moshe holds that a mechitza is not to make sure men don't look at women. He holds a mechitza is to make sure that there's no mixing of men and women. So that's high enough is fine, even if you could see. Okay, and the Samar Rebbe obviously was not very happy with that. So they were once being Menachem Ovel. Rav Moshe and the Samar Rebbe was sitting across from the Avelim, and then there's always...
They were being Menachem Ovel of Shnei after Rav Aaron was evicted.
Is that who it was?
That's what the story, that's what the story is. Yeah.
Oh, so go ahead. So finish the story.
No, you're saying it. I'm sorry.
I don't care. You know the story better than me. Go ahead.
So Rav Moshe was sitting, there was a coffee table. Rav Moshe and the Satmar Rebbe was sitting there, Yoshev was sitting there. The Satmar Rebbe started saying over Sugya from the Gemara. And finally, Rav Yoshe said he couldn't stop. He said the Rebbe wouldn't stop. So Rav Yoshe said, Rebbe, we're here by Avelim. He says, yeah, but you hold this as a mechitza, so what's the problem, you know?
Right. Oh, was it Rav Yoshe or was it Rav Moshe?
I heard Rav Yoshe.
Whichever one. The joke is a good joke. Bottom line is the coffee table is a mechitza. Yeah, sure, very good. Okay, Mike,
But
what are
it's
you
not.
saying?
5 feet is not a coffee table.
No, it was okay, but you just that wasn't the point.
Don't get upset that he said 5 feet is mechitza, okay?
Mike, stop. Everything's relative, Lando.
Oh my God.
Oh, you
Go
called
recuperate.
you asked for that one, man. You asked for that one. Yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
Now we were talking about an Asherah tree, a tree being. Don't we have a case in Sukkah about using trees for the walls of a Sukkah? Aren't you getting hana from the wall? How can a tree? Is that an exception to the rule? You said a tree is aser on Shabbos,
right.
yeah.
Yeah. So what are you saying? You mean mitzvahs lav lahenes nidnu? Is that what you
Right.
want?
That's what we say over here. Mitzvah slav lahenes nidnu. Isn't that
What do you
the
mean
whole
that's what
point?
we
Isn't
say?
that what Rashi says? I think Rashi says that somewhere over here.
So very good.
By eruv tchumim. That's what Rashi says.
I'm saying, didn't we say we said that you can't get hana from a tree on Shabbos? Shabbos, a tree is moked, right?
Surgeon like that.
Right. I hear.
Yeah.
One second. You're saying mitzvahs lav lahenes nidnu, and here you're getting hana from it.
Yeah.
What do you say, Akiva?
I think Rashi says that over here. That it's Rashi says that loy nichale delinter. Rashi says the Indian of when it comes to
Which
this.
Rashi talking about? Which Rashi? I don't.
Loy nichale delinter.
Talking about the surgeons, they have to start from me too. So I said to him,
Loy nichale.
It's 2 away from the Mishnah.
So somebody said to me, how did you tell the guy was about to?
I guess the parrots has to mute. Yeah.
Rashi says the gabe eruv tchumim, right? So how do you use the kever? So Rashi says the ein ma'arvim mitchum ela dvar mitzvah mitzvah lav lahenes nitnu. Aval eruv echatzeres lahanasahi v'leila dvar mitzvah v'havana.
Very good. Yeah, that's what Rashi. Very good. That's taka what Rashi. Yeah, Mike, you see it in Rashi?
How is he answer? What was the kasha? We said that a tree is aser bahana. Yeah.
Well, that was your kasha.
No,
you're saying the Gemara's kasha was, how can you use a tree? I mean, Lamaisa, the tree could access the other yard, but Lamaisa, it's usher to do it.
Yeah.
Right. So we're saying that it's
why is it? Why I'm asking, why is it usher?
Asher is also bahana.
No, forget about the asher. Stam a tree.
The
tree is also to climb on Shabbos.
You can't climb a tree on Shabbos.
This is the Rabbanah to climb a tree on Shabbos.
I'm asking you, are you allowed to get hana from a tree on Shabbos? Forget about climbing.
Yes.
You're allowed to get hana.
Huh?
Yeah,
no. Oh, that's what you're asking. You're asking him at Shabbos?
Yeah.
No, a tree's not also bahana on Shabbos, just also to climb a tree on Shabbos.
It's also to climb, it's also to hang something on it, right?
It's also to hang, right, yeah. But not because of hana. Meaning you're allowed to sit in the shade of a tree on Shabbos.
Okay.
That's what I thought. You can't sit in the shade.
Can you sit?
I hear what you're saying. I hear.
You can sit in the shade of a tree.
No
kasha. Against a tree.
What did you say, Simon?
You can sit in the shade of a tree, but can you sit up against a tree under the shade?
On Shabbos?
Yeah.
Can you, if you're on the floor, well, you're not allowed to lean on a tree. Now, if you're sitting on a floor.
Why can't you lean on the tree?
What?
Why can't you lean on the tree?
Because we're afraid that you're going to end up climbing the tree or cutting down the tree, whatever it is.
That's the.
But you're right. Sitting on the floor and then leaning, I have no idea.
A car you could lean on Shabbos.
A car you could lean on Shabbos, yes. Because there's no gezerah. Mikra, you can go into a car on Shabbos too. There's only because of the lights that go on. Even though Batsum a car is muksa to move, but that's.
And what about a car that has an alarm that has a gyro in it, so you lean on it and the alarm goes off?
No, obviously you can't lean on that type of car.
But you don't know which car has that alarm. People add those.
That's true, but you don't have to be. I don't think.
I don't have to worry about that here in Boca. Nobody does that.
No, huh? Does anybody steal in Boca? Do they even have police in Boca?
Oh yeah.
No,
It's all white collar crimes there. Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah. Then they come up to New York, huh?
That's only for a little bit of time.
Right.
up to New York.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, okay, I got somebody here, so I gotta log off. All right.
Thank you.
All right, everybody.
Thank
Thank you.
Have a good night. Bye-bye. You here?
Yep.
You can come in. You don't have to hide over there.
Yeah, it's all G. Whatever. It's all anyway. Slight fight with my mom.
That's it.
Like
Just a slight
always.
fight. That's not bad. That's what I'm here for.
Only a little. Alright.